Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, March 10th, 2016. I'm Laughter Fraser with the details. Outlining the numerous natural disasters which the country has undergone in recent times, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Dr. Ralph Gonsalves says such calamities accounted for about $650 million, or one-third of the country's gross domestic product. The leader of this country was addressing delegates from the Caribbean Development Bank, or the CDB, at the Sunset Shores Hotel yesterday, where he signed $11.3 million Eastern Caribbean dollars to the National Disaster Management Project and Technical and Vocational Education Training, or TVET. Dr. Gonsalves says that natural disasters not only significantly impacted the environment, but also the finances of the country, and pointed out that despite undergoing the worst international economic crisis in 100 years, St. Vincent and the Grenadines was still able to build its largest capital project, the Argyle International Airport. He said despite the many challenges, such as the collapse of preferential treatment for the banana industry, SVG is still standing strong.
Hurricanes, floods, landslides, alternating with two droughts. The loss and damage for those disasters between 2010 and early 2015 with the drought, it's in the aggregate some one-third of GDP, over $660 million. The loss and damage for the big disaster in December 2013 was 17% of GDP. And that amounted to some $330 million Eastern Caribbean.
Expressing gratitude to the CDB, Prime Minister Gonsalves says he wished funding for projects could move more speedily.
We're very grateful for this $11.3 million, and I have to say thanks. It's a difficult word for a lot of people, but gratitude is important to express, and we are grateful to you and to the non-borrowing countries for your contribution. It's only that I wish if we can do things a little faster, and we all have to try and do them. This is not just a problem with a challenge with the CDB. It's a problem with the World Bank. It's a problem with the European Union, and so on and so forth.
Meanwhile, President of the Caribbean Development Bank, or the CDB, Warren Smith, thanked the government and people of SVG for their hospitality and said his team is pleased to assist the country in its development. Smith says he is delighted that the 11 million EC dollars the CDB will be providing to the country will help a number of Vincentians.
It's a great honor to be able to sign these loan agreements here with you this afternoon. The project for disaster risk is one that we feel very, very strongly about. We know that St. Vincent is positioned geographically in a place where you suffer the risks of disaster. You suffer the risk of disasters taking place. And over the last few years, I think CDB has pumped something like $20 million into your country in response to those events.
The CDB president explained that $250,000 of the project will go toward monitoring and evaluation in an effort to improve the processing timeline of projects.
The beneficiaries are estimated to be somewhere in the order of 22,000 human beings. That's no small impact. And a part of this agreement here speaks to, I think it's $250,000 for a monitoring and evaluation consultancy. That's there for good reason, because we want to be able to measure our performance, we want to be able to accurately measure the results, and that's how we're working these days. You spoke, Prime Minister, about the need to move more rapidly. Well, you must have been listening in on this meeting this morning, because that was almost an underlying theme of our meeting. There were several discussions.
And Chief Education Officer Luann Gilchrist says the CDB sponsored access to another Nexus in Education for Workforce Development Program, or ANEW, is very focused at not only developing TVET skills in schools, but also the skills of persons out of school. Speaking at the launch of the program earlier this week, Gilchrist said the program is designed to offer a second chance to those students, youth, and those in early and middle adulthood up to age 45 who need the second chance to acquire or refine their skills, and in so doing be awarded portable recognized certification.
Because of the thrust in these modern times for certified skilled workers, we must ensure that the people entering the workforce or those already in the workforce without certification are provided with opportunities for training leading to recognized portable certification. Now, this program also targets heads of households, because we know that the survival of the family, of the society, of the nation depends on the earning capacity of the heads of households. And we are especially interested in the Ministry of Education in training our adults and our heads of households so that the benefits derived by them from the training will redound directly to the benefit of their children. Primary and secondary school children, although support exists for their attendance at school and their retention in school, we do need for the parents of these children to have a great earning capacity.
According to the Education Minister, if members of the population are to compete meaningfully and to survive in this harsh economic time, then they must be equipped with the academic, technical, as well as social skills to enable their survival.
At the 29th meeting of the COSOD of the CARICOM, St. Vincent and the Grenadines was awarded CVQ granting status. That is a very important... Thank you. That is a very important milestone, a very important accomplishment in the work that has been going on in St. Vincent and the Grenadines over the past, how long is it? 3-4 years? Yes. And this means that we have to bring our institutions, continue to bring our institutions, our technical institutes, up to the required CVQ standards. The work must not stop. We will not rest on our laurels. I would like to acknowledge the members of the National Qualifications Department, led by Commandant Dwight Lewis.
Gilchrist further encouraged the participants to let TVET stand up and be recognized as a very important pillar in the development of the productivity of the nation, noting that there should be no division between academic learning and technical vocational education, teaching or learning, since both are very important to the society. As promised, we will now bring you the second part of the preliminary findings of the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, report on SVG's economic outlook. The team recently paid a visit here as part of its regular consultations in the context of requests to use their resources for projects aimed at national development. The report will be presented to the IMF Executive Board for discussion and a decision. Sharon Garraway tells us more on some of the areas covered.
IMF report revealed the measures outlined in the 2016 budget are expected to improve the primary balance relative to 2015, but leave the overall fiscal position unchanged. The tax policy measures are expected to yield 0.7% of the gross domestic product, GDP, including broadening the value-added tax, VAT base, raising excises on alcoholic and sweet beverages, and raising the automobile surcharge and driver's license fees. The IMF revealed that the central government's primary balance would reach a surplus of 1.6% of the GDP in 2019. But this is assuming that no additional measures and increases in taxes to the GDP ratio is beyond the 2016 level to reflect the whole year to impact the 2016 revenue measure. As it relates to fiscal policy, the IMF noted that there should be a strategy to build financial defenses against natural disasters, noting that given the challenge to finance the reconstruction when a natural disaster materializes, it also advised that the government self-insure itself against this occurrence. The report noted that based on historical data, the average annual damages from natural disasters in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is 1.2% of the GDP, of which about three-quarters are the responsibility of the government. It stated that an annual amount of 0.9% of GDP would constitute an adequate buffer against natural disasters. In the area of taxes, the IMF report stated that there is a significant scope to mobilize additional revenue by further broadening the tax base. This includes streamlining ad hoc tax concessions and tax incentives and intensifying collection of tax arrears. They also call for continued restraint of the wage bill, since wages of public sector employees have increased by 45% between 2000 and 2014, resulting in the second highest public sector wages relative to productivity in the ECCU. It also stated that intensified control over public entities will be needed. Sustainability of the public pension scheme and the National Insurance Services (NIS) also needs improvement. Budgetary arrears should continue to be cleared and targeted for their full elimination by 2017. The report said that this should help boost private sector activity. Proactive implementation of structural reforms, the IMF report stated it is critical to support the fiscal consolidation agenda. They said that reforms in revenue administration and public financial management need to be accelerated and sustained with a public commitment to a timeline and key milestones. They said that the soon-to-be-established National Economic Advisory Council may be helpful in monitoring progress in these reforms. They explained that leadership in areas such as the Customs and Excises, Inland Revenue Department, and the internal audit in the Ministry of Finance is critical to reform, and that adopting a legal framework for public-private partnerships, PPPs, would help limit contingent fiscal liabilities, particularly in areas of large partnerships such as the geothermal and agricultural projects. The organization further advised that accelerating structural reforms to boost competitiveness is essential to leverage the growth-enhancing impact of improved access to tourism and export markets. It said that St. Vincent and the Grenadines' hiring costs relative to labor productivity are among the highest in the region, and noted that to lift labor productivity, the newly established Hospitality Institute, once fully operational, can help upgrade the workforce skills to match business requirements. St. Vincent and the Grenadines came in for high praises in the credit union sector, being a leader in the region. As it relates to the banking industry, the IMF described the banks as relatively sound, but called for continued monitoring of the financial system. In conclusion, the mission welcomed the data improvements by the authorities on various fronts, but however recommends improvements in the financial reporting of the state-owned enterprises, SOEs, describing it as weak due to non-compliance, and that the authority should aim to have more timely and updated information by the end of 2016. Sharon Garraway, SVG Television News.
A group referring to themselves as We the People is calling on the public to join them in a protest tomorrow, Friday, March 11th, from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. They're asking persons to wear orange, as they have categorized the event as non-political. The We the People protesters noted that issues such as high levels of unemployment, value-added tax or VAT on basic food items, as well as what they term as unjustified license increases, are causing agitation to citizens. Alleged political victimization and what they term as an unjust judicial system are also areas that the group say Vincentians should stand up against and support tomorrow's protest. Persons here convicted on domestic violence charges will face a stiff penalty of a jail term at Her Majesty's Prison. This was disclosed recently by Chief Magistrate Rayshon Brown when a male was sentenced to a jail term of 1 month. When several males appeared before her on different occasions on similar charges, they were given jail terms ranging from 3 to 9 months. Brown noted that this has to be done in an effort to curb the spate of domestic violence that is very prevalent in this country. According to her, the sentence will not only apply to males but also to females, as well as those who are in uniform. President of the National Omnibus Association, Anthony Backus, says his organization is working along with the government to deliver a quality service to the traveling public. Backus was at the time speaking on sister station Hits FM's Wake Up and Go morning show, discussing various issues facing the association. He pointed out that NOBA has been in close consultation with the government, and as a result, several of the association's recommendations have been implemented, such as an express route out of capital Kingstown via Town Hill, as well as the beginning of improvements on the road network on the leeward side of the island.
Well, the roads, the roads down in Roseau and Walter Road, they fixed all the roads coming around King Garden.
And that was because of NOBA? That was one of your requests?
Yeah, that was.
Oh, yeah, well, okay, well, big up nobody.
And we, the government is complying with NOBA, NOBA working with the government working with NOBA.
It's like a partnership then?
Well, we have to work together if we want to move forward. You can't work against and expect to go anywhere. Otherwise, it's going to be a struggle and you stand in one spot.
True.
So right now, one of the things that we discussed with the government were the roads. And we know there's a great project going on the leeward side. I don't know if you've been down there lately. It's improving.
Always down there.
It's improving. There's still got a lot of work to do, but from Lowman's going down all the way down to Kittles and
a good point.
In relation to fares, Backus says the association is looking at the issue of zoning to ensure a more efficient system for the traveling public. Backus is, however, disappointed that more omnibus operators do not see the benefit of joining the organization.
These people here, these van drivers and owners, they work. These are the only people I know that work against their own interests. Here's the National Omnibus Association providing benefits and making things cheaper for you to operate and maintain your bus, and you're not interested to take part into that association. You understand? I just don't understand. It's not about, it's like they don't have any vision. It's not about, you're making $300-400 a day and that's it. You have to have vision. You have to look forward.
The longevity.
You have to look at the broader picture. You understand? Because if your van breaks down today and you can't make that $300-400, what you gonna do? You have to reach out to somebody to try to get the money if you don't have the money.
Calls have been made for Vincentians to take a more proactive approach toward their health, as St. Vincent and the Grenadines for the first time held an activity to observe World Dialysis Day today, Thursday, March 10th, 2016. The activity took the form of an exhibition held under the General Post Office Gallery in capital Kingstown. SVG-TV's Marvin Oliver tells us about it in this report.
The exhibition held earlier today by the SVG Dialysis Association forms part of an effort to sensitize the Vincentian public on issues relating to kidney diseases. Speaking with SVG Television News, President of the association and consultant in nephrology, Dr. Tawana Brown Caesar, pointed out that this year some attention will be paid to the kidney health of children and encouraged Vincentians to take a proactive approach with their health.
We thought it necessary that children be a part of this, because a lot of the diseases that cause kidney disease in children may actually be anatomical or structural abnormalities that, if repaired, can either reverse the impairment that they have, or at least we can monitor the progression and treat and delay the progression of kidney disease. I think the program, the salt reduction in your diet program launched by the Ministry of Education, that was last week, that's a useful intervention, because you know that one of the causes of kidney disease is hypertension. So that's a useful intervention. The non-communicable diseases and getting those under control, and generally as a nation becoming more active, becoming more fit, watching what you eat, being our brothers keepers, persons with diabetes, hypertension, having them become involved and knowing that they need to have their kidneys checked.
Also at the fair was Kamara Bainu, a nurse specializing in nephrology. She took the opportunity to explain to us the use and purpose of the hemodialysis machine.
Now, as you notice, there are different colors, and this is called the artificial kidney. This is called a dialyzer or the artificial kidney. This is what performs all of the filtering and cleaning of the blood. On the patient, there are color coordinated links there. They have red and blue also. That is what gives signal to the nurses exactly where each tube goes to. Blood leaves the patient. It goes through the red line dialyzer through the red. Artificial kidney is separated in two. So on the upper part is where the filtering and the cleaning takes place, and then the clean blood enters the blue part or the venous part of the dialyzer, where the clean blood goes back to the patient through the blue.
Meanwhile, Fayaz Ahmed, a student at the St. James Medical School, pointed out that knowledge on the causes of kidney disease and their symptoms goes a long way in the fight against this health condition.
I think the biggest thing in St. Vincent is that spreading awareness about diabetes and about high blood pressure, because those are the main causes, leading causes that lead to kidney diseases.
I am Bhavin Oliver reporting for SVG Television's Evening.